right, let's do it. There's the weather, 63 degrees. Wind not a factor. Humidity 66% and no rain until after midnight. Let's hope we are all well out of here by then. A.J. Hinch, 26 postseason wins, now a franchise record in his 5th year in the corner of the dugout for the Houston Astros. Here's his lineup. George Springer leads it off, and Jose Altuve and Michael Brantley had a couple more hits last night. Alex Bregman searching. Yuli Gurriel at first. Carlos Correa, the shortstop. And at the back end, Robinson Chirinos. He had 2 hits, went deep last night. Jake Marisnick gets the start. He patrols center, and Jose Urquidy is on the mound. Here's a left-hander, Patrick Corbin, 14-7 during the regular season. There are his numbers at home as a starter, including his Game 4 win of the NLCS over St. Louis, 9-2. Springer takes inside, ball 1, and off we go.
Thing to look for tonight. No big inning pitch counts. He usually runs into one of those 25 or 30 pitch innings. He needs to avoid that against the Astros.
And then inside corner, a ball and a strike.
And then that side of the plate is his money pitch. If he can get that fastball and that strike, the slider will be hard for the Astros, as disciplined as they are, to lay off of that pitch.
Ball. Fastball misses inside, a ball to run the count to 2-1.
He wants to establish, he wants the right-handed hitters looking in, because if he's looking in, the disappearing slider goes like that. It is virtually impossible to lay off of it when he starts it in the area where his fastball is. So fastball strikes are the key, and then swings out of the zone. You'll see that a lot if he's on tonight with that pitch.
Ball. Counts full now. 28 strikeouts this postseason. As Tom talked about, his 7th appearance this postseason. 3rd start. The coverage of this game in Spanish, please tune to Fox Deportes. Fouled back, pretty good rip by Springer. And it's been a 7-pitch at bat. Last night better. 4 hits with runners in scoring position for the Astros. A big reason why they prevailed, while the Nationals went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Here's another 3-2. Struck him out on the inside corner, 1 away. Our player resume is sponsored by Indeed. And this guy is indeed one of the best postseason performers to come along in a long time. Reached base safely in 23 consecutive postseason games. And this postseason, the numbers are fantastic. 5 home runs and 6 doubles. Last night had 2. With 1 out. That's a base hit. First pitch hunting was Jose Altuve, and he shoots it into center, 1-on-1 out.
That's going to be the challenge for Corbin on some of these hitters. He wants to get ahead, because when he gets ahead of the hitter, it's over 200-point difference between ahead and behind in the count. The strikeout was this pitch in off the plate, and Springer was locked up, thought it was a ball, and early on, the fastball that this guy he gets to everything. It's nothing that he doesn't like to swing at when he jumps in the box.
It brings in Michael Brantley, who had 2 more hits last night, a pair of RBI singles. Corbin deals, and that's high and tight for ball one. Brantley has hit in all 3 games and 2 hits in both games 2 and 3. Five for 12 overall in this series. That's into center field, a base hit. Back-to-back singles. Altuve will hold at second. 2 on, 1 out. Bregman coming up. Coming into last night, the Astros were having a tough time stringing hits together. Only twice that they had back-to-back base hits, and last night they were able to put a second inning together where they had 3 straight hits, 2 straight hits in the third, a couple more in the fifth, got 3 on in the sixth. Here's a chance, John, for Alex Bregman to make a statement. He homered back in game 2. His only hit this World Series, and he has really struggled since the start of the ALCS.
He has struggled, and no better time to find that little trigger in his mechanics to get going for the Astros.
That's into left center field, and will put Houston on top. It gets down. Altuve will score over to third as Brantley in first pitch swinging. It's 1-0 Houston on the RBI by Bregman. And it doesn't look, John, like these Astros are waiting around for that slider.
They don't want to get to the slider, and of course Corbin wants to get ahead with the fastball and then make the slider do its thing. But the Astros once again has taken out this unbelievably loud crowd and put them a little bit back in their seats, and an opportunity for a crooked number here in the first inning.
Tell you, Bregman has not done that a lot this postseason. Jump on that first pitch fastball. He's taken a lot of fastballs. Gurriel takes one right down the middle at 94 for strike 1. Prior to that, Alex Bregman had been 0 for 8 against the fastball in this World Series.
Yeah, he was in between, and the in-between part we talked with his manager, it really is his mechanics.
Time out. Gomes scoops that, a ball and a strike.
A lot of batter-pitcher matchups are guessing games a little bit, right? You see 2 consecutive base hits on fastballs, and you think, as a pitcher, you go, well, certainly the hitter doesn't think I'm going to throw another one, and vice versa. And the guessing game early on for the Astros has worked, and they have attacked the fastball of Corbin.
Here's a 1-1. Gurriel hits it to third, diving stop Rendon. A run scored. Gurriel safe. And it's 2-0 Houston with a fast start here in game 4. Rendon, a nice stop, but then couldn't do anything with it. And it's an RBI base hit for Gurriel. Runners at first and second, 2-0.
This is unbelievable play when you think about how he came up with it, and he wasn't able to turn around the right way because he got crossed up with his feet and everything. Watch him turn the inside. At that point, he's done. Gurriel can run and an infield hit.
Talk about hot shots off the bat. That's been the case for Gurriel. 102 miles per hour off his bat for an infield RBI single. A strike hits the inside corner to Correa. And Corbin's got to stop the bleeding for the Nationals right now.
Yeah, first inning was a little bit higher in the ERA for Corbin, and you never come into a game like this thinking the first out's going to be hard to get. And right now your mind starts wandering, going, I need to get an out. It's 2-0, I don't have an out. With 1 out, sorry, he's got 1 out, but the inning gets away from you when you start thinking about how you're going to survive the first inning with runners on base. It's amazing when you get to this level. You wouldn't think this way in a regular season game at all, but everything's magnified.
This guy you flustered is a Hall of Fame.
I know.
Pitcher.
Already jumping out of my seat.
Springer led off and struck out on a 3-2 pitch that caught the inside corner, and then 4 straight singles. 1-1. Check swing. Didn't go. So it's Lance Barksdale, and the count 2-1. Close, just able to hold up. 2 out of 13 in this World Series is Correa. Last night had a double and a run scored his first time up. That's too far inside. 3-1. Crowd trying to get back into it. Houston bats have taken him out of it. For the moment. 3-1. Full count. Correa started to take the little mini shin guard off, and he has to stay at the plate with a full count.
Well, the great news for Corbin is there's an inch on this side of the plate if he can get to it. Problem is he hasn't gotten to enough of his counts where he gets to 2 strikes. He's deadly.
(3-2). Fouled back in Correa, right on it.
There's 2 things you can do basically if you're Corbin and you're a 2-pitch pitcher. You can dominate one side of the plate and just keep dominating. But if he ever was able to hit a fastball on the outside part of the plate and he could take that slider and backdoor, but I haven't seen him do it a lot. He loves going downhill inside to a right-hander.
Again on 3-2. That's inside. And the bases are loaded, and this crowd is groaning here in the first inning. A strikeout, 4 straight singles, 2 runs have crossed, a walk, and now a visit from Paul Menhart. He's a longtime organizational pitching instructor, and he took over at the big league level when Derek Lilliquist was let go after a slow start that we've all talked about over and over again for these Nationals when they got out of the gate at 19-31.
Well, you can already tell from a team there. The Astros have paid attention to every detail and are on red alert because they got down 2-0, and they knew the only way to get back into this series is offensively they were going to have to be better. In this postseason, they've struck out way more than they normally do, and they hadn't been good with runners in scoring position. And so in these last 2 games, getting on the board first, creating pressure for the team that's at home, and taking the crowd out of it early is key.
Here's Chirinos. He went deep last night, had 2 hits. Hit a rocket out of here off the foul pole and left. What a chance for Houston here in the first. Good pitch. Chirinos. I don't know what went flying off there, but something happened on that swing. Maybe something from the cupped end of the bat. Well, whatever it was or is in his back pocket. And the bases are loaded with 1 down and an 0-1 count. Time called. Here it comes. That bounces in way in front of the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. And a good block by Yan Gomes.
Well, Paul Menhart went out there and probably told him a couple things. One of the things he told him is don't forget about your changeup, and he threw the first pitch changeup to Chirinos, and he came swinging out of his shoes on the first changeup of the inning.
Bases loaded, one out, 1 ball, 1 strike is the count. Ball. There's another in the changeup category, but it misses 2-1. .35-year-old catcher Chirinos, 4th oldest catcher to homer in a World Series when he went deep last night in the 6th. Left side might be 2. Rendon steps, throws. Corbin, a nice job to keep the damage at 2 runs on 4 hits. And it's a 2-0 Houston lead. Stay tuned for more action from the World Series on Fox, presented by YouTube TV.
Grandpa, what was your favorite World Series baseball game?
1941, Game 4. A player hit the ball so hard, I thought it went to the moon.
That's why you went there?
Sure.
Buzz Aldrin and the Apollo 11 crew are rocketing to the moon to bring home what appears to be a baseball from 1941.
Where did that one go?
Maybe Mars.
First inning as Patrick Corbin limited the damage. Here's the lineup for the Nationals: Trey Turner, Adam Eaton, and Anthony Rendon. In the middle, Juan Soto. Howie Kendrick back in the starting lineup, was not in there last night. Ryan Zimmerman at first base. Kendrick plays second. And on the back end, it's Victor Robles, Yan Gomes, who is the catcher for Patrick Corbin. Corbin pitches and bats ninth. Here's Jose Urquidy, 24-year-old right-hander from Mazatlan, Mexico. Limited work with the big league club. Started the season, John, in Double-A, and here he is starting in Game 4 of the World Series. Strike 1 on Trey Turner.
Yeah, he's pitched so good the last 30 days or so. That's why he's in this position. He's got a really good breaking ball. You see the short, quick arm for a fastball, and his changeup is well above average.
And making his first career postseason start. 95 miles per hour. Trey Turner comes up empty, 1-2.
Again, that's how you got to pitch Trey Turner. Trey Turner's so important. If he gets on base, and he's done it in 19 innings.
Won't do it here if that stays in play. Gurriel in foul ground has out number 1. And with Adam Eaton walking to the plate, a reminder that tonight's telecast is sponsored by YouTube TV. History happens live. And by Pizza Hut, no one out-pizzas the Hut. 1 down, the batter will be Adam Eaton. He's got 3 straight multi-hit games in this World Series. He's hit a home run. Handles the bat well, and he has shown he is willing to go the opposite way over the first few games. Strike 1.
Oh no! Did he go?
Breaking ball, no swing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Urquidy coming back from Tommy John, and he is starting to feel like he is in his groove post Tommy John.
Good breaking ball for strike 2. He's making his 3rd appearance this postseason. His first start, as we said, worked in the division series at Tampa Bay, went an inning and 2/3, didn't allow a run. And 2 2/3 innings in Game 6, the clinching game against the Yankees in Houston. ALCS. That's popped up on the infield and foul ground. Chirinos. 2 foul outs, 2 out. Home plate umpire tonight is James Hoy. Lance Barksdale is at first. Sam Holbrook at second. Jim Wolf, who started this series in New York in the replay room, is at third with Doug Eddings in left and Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, out in right. And with 2 out, nobody on. Here's Anthony Rendon. Last night swung at the first pitch 3 different at-bats and flied out each time. Here he takes a tight breaking ball for strike 1.
Yeah, this is a guy that's not afraid to get deep in the count. He had not had much success off of Greinke, and it looked like he was definitely going up there. The first one he was able to see, he attacked, and they popped every one of them up.
That's into left field, hard hit, base hit, as Brantley goes to cut it off. Showed you the umpires for tonight's game, and I know we were live on TV before this ball game started. Moment of silence here at Nationals Park for Chuck Merriweather, who passed away at the age of 63 today. And our condolences to his wife Rita and his sons Christopher and Jeremy. Behind the plate, Game 4 of the 2004 World Series, when the Red Sox won their first championship in 86 years. Here's Juan Soto. Hard hit to right at Bregman. You can't hit it any harder. Soto frustrated as he flips the bat, and it's a scoreless first for Urquidy. After 1 in Game 4, 2-0 Houston. Jake Marisnick is in the lineup tonight. He's 4 for 5 lifetime against Corbin. That's a big reason why. And then what he can do defensively in center field. He fouls the first pitch away, and we're underway in the second with the Astros up 2-0. At the bases loaded, 1 out, 2 runs in, and Chirinos bounced into a double play. There's another one that's either right on the edge or just inside the call to strike for Corbin. He's got to love that he's getting that pitch. 0-2 on Marisnick. Right back to Corbin.
Well, that double play was huge. That was an inning saver and possibly a game saver. Bases loaded, already given up 2 runs. You could tell, you get a little pep in your step when you feel like you've battled your way out of a potentially huge first inning.
Do you think Urquidy has his own bat?
I do not think he does.
He went from the on-deck circle after warming up down there right back to the dugout after that tap back by Marisnick and got a different bat. Takes a strike. Astros, the first team ever to string together 4 consecutive singles in the first inning of a World Series game. Ball. As Urquidy's backing out of there on ball 1. That happened in the first. Astros have scored 16 runs in the first inning this postseason. Most ever in a single postseason by an American League team.
Yeah, it really has been amazing the percentage of runs they've scored there.
We're told that Urquidy is swinging the bat of Martin Maldonado.
With 1 foot in the dugout.
There it is. Visual evidence.
His first move was towards his own dugout.
I don't think that bat's in danger. He's moving that front foot. I mean, hey, that's what I'd do. Moving that front foot out of there and able to make contact. His teammates are getting a kick out of it.
They're yelling a few things in his dugout, I can tell you right now.
1-2 pitch. Well, put it in play. Rendon flags it down, and it gets out number 2. That's better than the rest of us would have done.
Yeah, did a nice job.
And back to the top of the order, Springer. Corbin, it's funny. We've seen this kind of a stat for a lot of pitchers this postseason. When you combine the regular and the postseason numbers together, his ERA by inning as a starter, 5 even in the first inning, 3.03 from the second inning on. Turner, a 1-2-3 frame. And maybe Corbin has found his groove. Bottom of the second, Nationals will back. Down 2. Of the year, Sabrina McFarland delivered the game ball prior to the start of this game 4. Each year, MLB and boys and girls clubs work together to create unique opportunities for more than 4 million children and teens worldwide. To find out how you can help, go to bgca.org. Urquidy gave up a 2-out hit to Rendon. Threw a scoreless first, and that one wanders outside for ball 1. Howie Kendrick, then Ryan Zimmerman, then Victor Robles for Washington, down by a couple. For Urquidy, over his last 9 outings, he's put together a 2.75 ERA. Struck out 40, walked only 8 in just under 40 innings pitched. 2-1.
He just does a good job manipulating the baseball. He can spin it. We already talked about his fastball. Pretty straight, but has command of it. Haven't really seen the changeup yet tonight.
Good fastball there in a perfect spot. And the count's 2-2 on Kendrick.
And what he does is, again, the way that you can pitch, you can do a couple things. You can go north and south, which is pitch up and down. If you throw hard. If you don't throw hard, you pitch in and out, and then you change speeds to mess up the timing of the hitter. General rule is hard throwers, of course, today we see a lot of them. They're going to pitch. They want to pitch up. With everyone trying to get the ball in the air, that's the best recipe for that. And then they're going to spin the ball, because hitting a breaking ball or curveball with high velocity is very difficult to do.
2-2 pitch here. He did not go. On a check swing on a pitch up and in. And the count's full. Came close. Nationals trying to put their leadoff man on. Instead of strikeout, he went right back to that same spot at 95 miles per hour and gets his first strikeout of the night.
This is just classic pitching in the top of the zone, over the top fastball. He got a check swing on the previous pitch, and then the full swing.
You know, who knows what the end of the night will look like for Jose Urquidy, but you can tell early on, 1, he's comfortable out there. Doesn't look like he's overwhelmed by the size of the stage, and 2, he's on the mound ready to go and waiting for the hitter. He's got a nice pace to the way he works.
Yeah, he's not afraid. I mean, that's for sure. And that's one thing to say, a harder thing to do when you haven't had a lot of experience and you're thrust in a World Series with your team trailing 2-1 and you know who's pitching behind you.
Here's a 1-0. Changed up on him in a 1-1 count. Ryan Zimmerman came up for 20 games back in 2005 after the Expos became the Nationals and went from Montreal to D.C. Bregman gets a high hop and throws wide but out as Gurriel keeps his foot on the bag. 2 down. And with 2 out, a reminder that tonight's telecast is sponsored by T-Mobile. Its newest signal is more powerful, more reliable, and goes farther than ever. And it's built 5G ready. And by Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Back in 05, Zimmerman joined a team that had some young players like he was back then after being their first draft pick. And then there were some vets like Mike Stanton was on that team. Carlos Baerga was on that 2005 Nationals team. Vinny Castilla, Livan Hernandez, Brad Wilkerson, who was a good piece starting and coming off the bench. Marlon Byrd. And it was a rough start record-wise for the Nationals. Been better of late. That's fouled back, and 2 quick strikes on Victor Robles. A team that won the division, the Nationals, in 2012, 14, 16, and 17, but they kept getting knocked out in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, some crazy games for them. High expectation as well.
Wow. How good is this start so far by Urquidy? 2 strikeouts in the inning. Guess who started the rally for Houston in the first? That guy, Altuve. Seems like he does it every time. He'll lead it off in the third. 2-0. Houston.
This October.
And on this October 26th evening, Astros lead 2-0 here in Game 4. And the 2 through 5 hitters are the guys that got it done. 4 straight singles back in the first, and after a 9-pitch second inning that featured a few change-ups, Corbin misses outside with ball 1 to Altuve. Ball and a strike.
Altuve absolutely loved facing left-handers this year. Hit .331 in the regular season, and he just hasn't lost his step in the postseason. He's been the most consistent Astros hitter, of course, winning the MVP in the ALCS.
That is stopped by Rendon. What a play! Took another hit away from Altuve. As Anthony Rendon dives to his right, 1 down.
His reaction and his ability to play the hot corner. You see, you got to be ready right when the pitch is delivered, and he absolutely twice now. This time he was able to make the out.
Exit velocity of 98 miles per hour, 1 hop. And the MVP chance from the crowd here for Rendon. What a play. Here's Brantley. Takes a strike. Michael had a shoulder injury that he was dealing with back in 2016 when his Cleveland Indians got to within 1 win of a world championship, losing in Game 7 to the Cubs. So his first World Series action, and he's done nothing but hit. That's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's now 6 for 13.
He got a hit on breaking ball on the slider that not a lot of left-handers get a chance to do against Corbin. He owned left-handers this year.
Ball. Just down and in. 2 balls and a strike. Corbin was originally a 2nd-round pick of the Angels back in 09 and traded as part of a big package of players for Danny Herron to Arizona in 2010. Ball. That's wide. 3-1. Came up with Arizona in 2012. 25 wins combined over the previous 2 years before he signed the big 6-year deal with the Nationals. And has been through Tommy John surgery. Another hit for Brantley. He's been a machine. And it's 1 on, 1 out with Bregman coming up. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Verizon, the network more people rely on, and by MasterCard. bring in Alex Bregman. I know it's a story that's known by the Astros fans, but maybe for a larger national audience, it's worth telling the story why we just saw Michael Brantley do that after his base hit. That's down Ken Rosenthal. Brantley and Springer, great friends. And they were in need of roadside assistance for a while.
They were, Joe. They occasionally drive to the ballpark together, and they were doing that on May 8th when they got a flat tire on their way to Minute Maid. Brantley looks at Springer and says, "I'm not going to help. I've never changed the tire before." Springer responded, "You're 32 and you've never changed the tire?" Well, they got down to business. Springer's wife, Charlize, captured the moment on Instagram. And that night, Brantley hits 2 homers and Springer won in a 9-0 win over the Royals.
So there you go. Out comes the manual, trying to figure it out, and they got it done. And so that's part of their little celebration when one of them does something in the positive category. As the count goes to 2-1, Corbin finds the strike zone on Bregman.
In fairness, it ain't that easy with some of the cars today. You gotta know a lot. Thankfully, Google helps.
And AAA, roadside assistance, passers-by, Good Samaritan. 2-1 pitch is popped into right. Eaton with a long run. Out goes Kendrick, and Howie Kendrick. Good thing he got there, because I don't know if Adam Eaton was going to get there in time. It would have been close. 2 out.
Well, Corbin's made an adjustment, and ever since the pitching coach came out, part of that was to stay on the pitch, meaning stay on that changeup. That changeup has allowed him to get back in at bats and make some outs with it, because when you're talking about fastball slider only and you're looking at one lane for right-handed hitters, he now opens up the ability to get something moving away on the outside part to these Houston hitters who are so good at staying in the zone.
Here's Gurriel. Good pitch there from Corbin. Strike 1. A 1-out hit by Brantley. Bregman popped into shallow right. Gurriel with 1 home run this postseason, caps it foul, and now he's in the hole. 0-2. Strikes him out, and that's his second of the night. And it sends game 4 into the bottom of the 3rd with the 8-9-1 hitters coming up. 2-0 Houston. YouTube TV. Bottom of the 3rd inning rolls in. Yan Gomes, Patrick Corbin, and Trey Turner. 8-9-1 hitters. Astros leading 2-0 on the strength of RBIs in the first by Bregman and Gurriel. And Urquidy has struck out 2, allowed 1 hit, and fires a strike. A.J. Hinch is wearing a headset down in the dugout. You have to really like what you see from Urquidy.
No kidding. He's really gotten into the game pretty efficiently. He's calm. This is exactly how he looked in the summer when we first brought him up, and then certainly through September. And I like what I see so far for sure.
And it really, and I wasn't expecting to go here with this interview, but it really points out the difference between just analytics and numbers and spin rates and all that other stuff, and then somebody gets on a stage like this and you see calm like you're seeing from Urquidy. Right. That can go a long way.
It can go a long way, and the stuff is really good across the board. And then I think he's matured and learned how to use it a little bit. I think I said before the game in my media session that he pitches up to the level. Like, I've watched him in the big leagues pitch like a big leaguer. He sets hitters up. He goes for some weakness areas. He rarely makes major mistakes outside of the area that he wants to go to, and You know, he's a pitcher, but he's got plus stuff, and that's a good look for him.
That's rocketed down into the corner on an 0-2 pitch. And Jones will cruise into second with a double. Good start to the inning for the Nationals, and I'll just leave you with this. You had to be excited to see your third baseman, Alex Bregman, jump on that first pitch when he got the RBI in the first.
No kidding. You know, it takes something like that for these guys to get kick-started a little bit. He swung the bat really well. Yesterday, didn't get anything to show for it. He's been in the middle of everything that we do, and you know, MVP candidate for a reason. And this series isn't over. His participation in this is just starting.
AJ, thanks.
You got it.
All right, let him go back to doing his job after the double, and Corbin is up there. Everybody expects the bunt.
Got to bunt it to third base. A man on second, nobody out. You got to make Bregman field it so you can get the runner over. The first baseman, Gurriel, will be charging, reading the bat head of Corbin when he squares around.
Gomes is the catcher, does the running, and this one's popped up. Nice sliding effort by Chirinos, but can't get there. Strike one.
If you know you're going to bunt, you really want to get out there, and it's a timing thing. You don't want to be late squaring around. Everyone is anticipating you to bunt. There's a great effort here with that brick wall he's got to slide into. And the angle of the bat that you set will determine how and where you're going to bunt the ball. You've got all that space between the pitcher and the third baseman. It does not have to be a good bunt here, meaning it can be firm, and there's nothing Bregman can do about it. Other than throw him out of pitch.
He had 4 sacrifices during the regular season, Corbin did. And he drops it down. The runner holds 1 out, and Corbin did not advance the runner.
That was a really good read by Gomes because Urquidy got off the mound real well. So you got to get it to the third baseman, and he bunted that, and a good read by everybody. You got to know your pitcher for your third baseman to read that, because if he charges in too fast, the runner can go to third. But Bregman read it perfectly. It's the little things that start in spring training as pitchers that you cannot take for granted. You don't know when that's going to come into play to really help increase the chances of your team scoring.
And now Gomes at second, 1 out, back to the top of the order, and Trey Turner.
Ball.
Ball 1. Mentioned it earlier last night. The Nationals were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position in game 3, and they left 12 runners on. Asking for a hit from Trey Turner. Takes a strike. Turner's been on base in 25 straight games, all 13 for the Nationals coming in this postseason. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Boy, he was fooled on that pitch. Strike 2. Back to it, and it's fouled away. Urquidy made an 0-2 pitch. Too good to Gomes, and he smoked it into the corner for a double. Corbin trying to bunt. Did not advance the runner. And with 1 out, it's a 1-2 count on Turner. Upstairs at 95, 2-2.
Great pitch. Outside fastballs are where he gets the most called strikeouts because He's looking middle to middle in, and this was a great effort. Just a little bit lower.
To the right side. Gomes goes to third with now 2 out. That'll bring in Adam Eaton looking for a 2-out RBI hit. Chevrolet is the official vehicle of Major League Baseball and the brand to earn the most J.D. Power quality awards across cars, trucks, and SUVs over the last 4 years.
Well, for A.J. Hinch, this is an ideal situation. His pitcher's gotten out of the gate. His team gave him a lead. He's got a little rope to work with. And an opportunity to get through 3 innings. And when it's a bullpen game, that's a big deal.
Runner at third, 2 out, breaking ball, strike 1. Catches the inside corner to Eaton, who fouled out his first time. Astros pitching, trying to flip the script on Washington. Astros struggled through games 1 and 2 with runners in scoring position and have for the most part this postseason. 0-1 into center field, caught on a spinning catch in shallow left center by Correa, and that was not easy. That ball had a lot of spin on it, and the grab ends the inning after 3 in game 4. 2-0. Astros on top. Is sponsored by the Ford F-150, built Ford tough, and by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. 4th inning now, 2-0 still. The Astros on top, and boy, that ball looked so weird coming off the bat of Adam Eaton. It was spinning and just dying once it got to the outfield grass.
Correa made a hard play look somewhat routine. That was funky spin, as you said, and he kind of put himself in a body. He's a tall shortstop. He got a big out.
Nationals strand a runner. They have left 2. Correa, who made that play, is up on the count now, 3-0 from Corbin. Here it is again. What's Correa doing on 3-0? Swinging, and it's 3-1. The 25-year-old waits and tried to hold up. Couldn't. Probably a strike either way, and it's a full count.
That'll drive hitting coaches crazy because they want you committed one way or another. You're going to swing, let it fly. If not,
that's a leadoff walk. Second time Correa's walked.
well, if you're trying to figure out what it's like to hit off of Corbin and you're a right-handed batter, check this out. Fastball and slider coming out of the same spot, and they get there in a different way and a different velocity, and that slider and that spin is so tight when he is on. It's about 11 mile an hour difference and a ton of swing and misses.
Here comes Chirinos, who persevered a long time in the minor leagues before finally getting a taste of the big leagues in 2011.
Ball.
He did with Tampa Bay, then Texas, after missing a full year because of a concussion. That was 2012. 2 home runs this postseason, 19 home runs all in for Chirinos. Had the bases loaded, 1 out his first time up, and bounced into a double play to end the threat. That's well hit to left. Back at the wall. Chirinos has another. And it's a 4-0 Astro lead here in the 4th of Game 4. A walk and a blast to double the lead. Now Marisnik shoots one into center. He's on, and that'll allow Urquidy to bunt here in the 4th.
Well, this is one of his changeups that didn't do exactly what Corbin had wanted to do. Chirinos sitting all over it. There's the changeup grip, and then it just spins right in the middle of the plate. Not much movement. Head down, and he knows it right when he hits it.
Third of the postseason, 20th of the year for that man, Robinson Chirinos. Check on Marisnik as Urquidy is up there to get a bunt down.
In the National League style, you get runs out of the bottom of the lineup. That is bonus. With the pitcher coming up, so many ways you can get out of a jam in the National League because the pitcher's in the lineup hitting.
Yes, he did.
And just jabbing at it was Urquidy trying to bunt. Strike one.
Be yelling in that dugout. Keep your derriere in there. He's trying to move away and do something that is already difficult if you're moving around too much.
Strike two.
I actually think he has a better chance to hit it than he does to bunt.
After looking at that, remember in the bottom of the 3rd, Corbin couldn't advance the runner. He did get the bunt down, but it wasn't well placed. And now Urquidy is backed up at 0-2. With Marisnik, who can really run at first base, he gets a throw.
Bunting's all with your legs and using the bat as your eyes. If you get your head behind the bat and you use your legs to go up and down, anyone who uses their arms to change the angle and change, you're never going to be a good bunter. You got to be able to use your legs, squat, and get comfortable with the barrel of the bat as your eyes. That angle is not going to work.
I mean, no chance. And that's a strikeout. Here it goes off the bat of Robinson Chirinos, and this moonshot alert is brought to you by YouTube TV. History happens live. And Chirinos, who missed that opportunity in the 1st with the bases loaded, makes good here in the 4th. So Urquidy strikes out trying to bunt. Now back to the top and Springer. This is where the running game can come into play if the Astros want to go that route after not getting the runner over to second with a bunt. Marisnik stole 10 during the regular season. One of the few guys that runs in this lineup. Big lead. And he was leaning, able to get back. Better throw would have had him.
It's just reactionary for the first base coach to stay back, but if you're relying on him, you're going to be out.
Another big lead, another throw over. Robinson Chirinos is the 6th catcher to have back-to-back World Series games with a home run. Last guy to do it, the great Ted Simmons back in 1982 from Milwaukee. Runner goes, throw down. Too late. And the stolen base for Marisnik. So Urquidy couldn't get him there, but Marisnik's legs did. He's at second with 1 out.
It timed it pretty good. Seen a couple moves. That was the only way. Throw from. He could not afford to get up and throw that ball. I had to throw from a seated position. And really lucky he hung on to the bag.
Now the 0-1 to Springer.
Oh, no.
He didn't go. And now the Nationals bench is upset. So they count 1-1. A walk, a homer, a single, a strikeout, and then a steal. And Corbin steps off.
Yeah, because Larry was out there too, so.
Left side, Turner charges, gets Springer 2 out, over to third, Marisnik. In case you're just joining us, our Budweiser game summary here in Game 4 with the Nationals up 2-1. The Astros put up 2 in the first inning on 4 straight singles, RBIs by Bregman and Gurriel. Robinson Chirinos just hit a home run. He went deep last night. 2-run shot tonight. And it was a no-doubter. Midway up the seats and left to make it 4-0. And Jose Urquidy is pitching well for Houston. Well, here's Altuve looking for a 2-out RBI hit. Fooled there.
You're wondering why there's not really any action going on for the Nationals. I believe David Martinez has to play it and save his resources for max leverage situations. In other words, he's got kind of a shorter bullpen to work with. He likes to work with 3 guys, and then of course he's got Max for tomorrow. But he's trying to get as much length as he can without this game getting too far away. Already 4 runs down.
Here's a bunt, trying to catch Corbin, and the throw got him. Took a good play to get Altuve. And the Astros strand their 4th runner of the night. But Chirinos goes deep. And Houston in Game 4, up 4. Our team at the official source, MLBshop.com. That misses down and away, and we're underway in the 4th. Part of the order for Jose Urquidy, Rendon, Soto, and Howie Kendrick.
I think the Nationals have to score in this inning. They have to get back in the game
2-0.
and get some people on base and have Martinez make a decision with Corbin and get somebody going in the bullpen. This is a crucial inning for the Nationals, in my opinion, at this stage.
Not much trouble so far for Urquidy, who was able to pitch around a leadoff double last inning. That's fouled, strike 1.
Well, you know what he's done? He's done a great job mixing up the first pitches to every hitter. He doesn't just lay in fastballs. He'll spin a slider. He'll be able to show a curveball, a changeup, and he's pretty much attacking the strike zone.
Into right field. Going to get it on the dead run, and foul down the line as Springer couldn't get there. And if he can't get there, I can't think of anybody playing right that would. Just foul, by the way, and nearly a double.
Yeah, this ball slices away from Springer, and he gives it an unbelievable effort. Last minute dive. You can see, I think it catches the dirt. Just barely on the other side of the line. Oh, man.
When we were talking to manager A.J. Hinch before we came on, Urquidy was warming up, and he kind of John lollipops the ball into the plate. Doesn't throw hard at all. He's warming up. He's just throwing strikes, but throwing at about 50 miles an hour, and then the inning starts, and bang, here he is. 2-2 pitch. Bang, into left, to right at Brantley. And Rendon's 1 for 2. Tomorrow on Fox, Carson Wentz leads the Eagles against the surprising Bills. Or Christian McCaffrey off to a great start, and the Panthers look to keep things rolling against the undefeated 49ers, who are 6-0 for the first time since 1990. Check local listings for the game in your area or catch it all on the Fox Sports app. Here's Juan Soto, lined out, hit the ball right on the screws his first time up, but right at Bregman, who's in the same spot. Way off the line and in. Ball 1 outside.
Patented foot turned in until 2 strikes. Looking to do damage, power early. And then with 2 strikes, he'll open up that foot and stride.
Ball and a strike.
Characteristically struck out 3 times yesterday.
That's not a good way to celebrate your 21st birthday.
It's not.
I had a friend text me that said Juan Soto was a much better hitter when he was younger. This guy is a star. Ball. And you know, even when we go in and talk to these managers and talk to different players, rarely do they acknowledge that a guy in that other lineup is circled the way Juan Soto is circled by A.J. Hinch and the Astros pitchers. They are thoroughly impressed with this kid, and how could you not be?
Because they're only really seeing video. They don't see him up close. And when you see him up close in a series like this, you start seeing the at-bats, the procedure of which he goes about every pitch when he takes it. So, yeah, you start becoming a little bit amazed, and you go, okay, I am not going to let that guy in any circumstance beat me.
And the fact that you can't pitch him the same way every time already, he adjusts.
He adjusts here with 2 strikes. Chokes up. Put in a different position.
Ball that rides up and away in the count full. He's just got a presence at the plate that you rarely see. Three-two delivery. Struck him out, came right after him with 96. Third strikeout for Urquidy, and how about this 24-year-old right-hander?
Sneaky gas. I mean, lulls you to sleep a little bit, and all of a sudden 96 at the top of the zone. Tremendous.
4-0 lead. He said, here, hit it. Came right after him, and he couldn't. Breaking ball now. Pretty good pitch. Urquidy doesn't get it. Ball 1 on Howie Kendrick. Struck out his first time on a pitch that was up and in. Ball 2. Into right center field. Marisnik to his left. Let's say this. Between Cole, Scherzer, Verlander, Strasburg, Greinke and Sanchez, Urquidy has been the most in-control starter. Michael Brantley is 2 for 2. One of the prettiest left-handed swings you'll see. Not a lot of movement, just right to the ball, and he deals with Corbin, who misses outside with ball 1. Brantley, first player to reach base safely in 2 or more times in each of his first 4 career World Series games since Billy Miller for the 2004 Red Sox, and what a big piece of that championship he was. How about one into left center? Diving catch by Robles. Beautiful play by Victor Robles, who led all center fielders this year in defensive runs saved. He can move.
He can move. He looked a little shaky in Houston, but he has looked solid here in his home park. Great play yesterday, robbing extra base hits, and this could have been extra base hits. Another perfect classic swing. Looked like he had a hit off the bat. Tremendous jump by Robles.
Strained his hamstring earlier this postseason, cost him a handful of games, but he's back and moving around well. Ball 1 down to Bregman, who's 1 for 2. Alex, an RBI single in the first when he went after the first pitch. Popped up in the third. Waits for a 1-0.
Ball. The last second when the ball's on the way to the plate, he has this little move with his bat. He chokes up and takes whatever inch bat that is. Let's say it's 34, and he's actually swinging at it as if it was a 32 and a half. He has that little move right there.
It's a one-hopper to Turner. 2 out. And now 2 for 16 in this World Series is Bregman.
And when he's right, it frees him up. And when he's not, it boxes him off. He gets stiff. And that bat just kind of clicks right there. And then the rhythm of the swing. And usually, as you saw in the second half in the last 30 or 40 days, he didn't miss anything on his way to an unbelievable regular season.
Here's Yuli Gurriel. Yeah, from the 1st of August to the end of the regular season, Alex Bregman was #1 across all of baseball in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, extra base hits, RBIs with 52. He was okay in the division series, but he's his own harshest critic. He said, I've been terrible this postseason. After game 1 of the World Series, he went deep for a home run, a 2-run shot in game 2. Has an RBI single in this game as the count goes to 2-1 on Gurriel. One of the most confident players that you and I have come across since we've worked together, and right now he's a lot of head shaking for Bregman. 3-1.
Well, the biggest thing he does, he has a plan, and that plan he tries to execute every single day. And it's funny because getting to know him a couple years ago when he burst onto the scene, his manager said, you know, I challenge him every day to be the best third baseman on the field. And so don't think that third baseman is playing for the other team in the World Series, one of the best. He doesn't want to outplay him. It's not a selfish thing. It's just a motivating thing.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Strikeout number 4 for Corbin. Bottom of the 5th inning rolls in. 4-0 Houston.
Did you see that? Now, that's a homer.
This is the day that the Astros are trying to even this series at 2 games apiece. How about this? With all the high-power pitching and high-priced pitching between Cole, Scherzer, Verlander, Strasburg, through the first 4 innings of a ball game so far in this World Series, Urquidy has been the most effective.
He has. He's going to be unknown to the Nationals, of course. There's nobody really that has any experience off of him. And they're getting a chance to see a guy who looks confident and like he's been in the league for 5 years mix and match his pitches.
He's had these hitters off balance all night. Zimmerman grounded out to third his first time. In what was dubbed as a bullpen game for the Houston Astros, the bullpen has been quiet.
It has. And again, a dream scenario for AJ. He had a lot of confidence in this young man. Really come on the last month of the season, played an important role in the ALCS.
How about an origin story for Jose Urquidy, Tom?
It's a pretty good one. You know, we're used to seeing international free agents signed around 16 years old. The Astros didn't sign Urquidy until he was 19. That's because his mom insisted that he finish high school before beginning his professional career. Now, he first had a tryout with the White Sox. And an Astros scout by the name of Raul Lopez saw that tryout from behind a strand of trees. Astros wind up signing him for $400,000. Now, he pitched for a state team in Sinaloa, Mexico, and on that same team, his teammate Roberto Osuna, as well as Julio Urias, a left-handed pitcher with the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's a pretty good youth team. But what you're seeing here tonight, his ability to make pitches, all kinds of pitches, but especially the changeup. To me, Joe, that's the pitch that sets him apart. He's got extra special fade movement on that changeup, and he's always had that pitch.
2-2 here, rides up and in on Zimmerman in 95. Chirinos tells him not to fly open after that last pitch, and the count's full now with Robles and Yan Gomes, the next 2 hitters. Fouled back. Nationals have put their leadoff man on only once. That was a leadoff double by Gomes in the 3rd. And he was stranded. Action with the right-hander Wander Suero getting loose for Dave Martinez. As we are toward the bottom of the lineup here, and a strikeout starts the inning. Number 4 for Urquidy.
That is just so impressive. Zimmerman worked it to 3-2. He's got like different arm angles at times for his fastball, which creates a little bit of an illusion. And they've got to really be ready for any pitch at any time. And the 4-seam fastball comes in there and gets past the barrel of Zimmerman.
And no trouble here, second time through the order. In fact, nobody's reached against him this second time through. He's retired 8 straight overall, but 1 through 6 now, as they've seen him once and now twice, and nobody's reached. First pitch of ball, now another to Victor Robles, who struck out his first time. Made a nice catch in the top of this inning on a ball hit by Michael Brantley into shallow left center. 2-0 pitch. Ball 3-0. Here's that catch. StatCast AI powered by AWS. Covered 44 feet and a catch probability of 5%.
Yeah. Agree with that one. And Chirinos might have just given a sign to AJ as the bullpen gets going.
3-0 pitch right down the middle.
Seeing the stuff maybe from Chirinos' point of view, just a little tick off, you can imagine. a couple outs away from getting through 5, which I don't know if a lot of people expected would happen.
Josh James, a right-hander, getting up and loose. Here's a fly ball into right, jammed him. Springer for out number 2. And the batter will be Gomes, who has one of just 2 hits so far against Jose Urquidy. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Nationals Light Seltzer. Crashing the party hard. It's a tradition here, not necessarily the trick-or-treating presidents, but when they have their race here at Nationals Park. Halloween, John's favorite evening, is right around the corner.
It's growing on me.
Thursday. Here's a ball up and into Yan Gomes.
Could be flying on Thursday after Game 7. I'm just saying, if it goes 7.
If it does go 7. Game 7 would be Wednesday night in Houston. Nationals trying to win here. Have a chance to end it tomorrow. High fly ball to right. Urquidy is through 5 shutout innings. He has stepped up front and center. Jose Urquidy, 4-0 Houston after 5 in Game 4. Cancer. Meant to the fight against cancer. For more than 10 years, Major League Baseball, its fans, players, and coaches have come together to support our friends and family and to stand united and steadfast in our determination to defeat this disease. Please join Major League Baseball, MasterCard, Fox, and the entire baseball family as we stand together in the fight against cancer. Visit standuptocancer.org to find out how you can help today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Patrick Corbin back to work. He's gone 5, allowed 4 runs on 7 hits, struck out 4, walked 2, a home run hit by Chirinos. And here's Carlos Correa, 4-0 Astros on top, 2 in the first, 2 in the fourth. The rest of the story is Jose Urquidy, who now has retired 9 straight. As Corbin misses with ball 1 to Correa.
Well, Corbin didn't come up to the plate that inning, so it allows him to go out and give one more inning for David Martinez and the Nationals to hold on.
And Corbin's spot is due up first in the bottom of this 6th. So trying to squeeze one more inning out of Corbin is that man. In his 2nd year as manager of the Nationals. Talking to people with this organization, they said even with that slow start, people upset with Martinez and the direction of the team. Early in the year, there's a strike. It's 2-2. Dave Martinez never changed his demeanor, never changed his message. Stayed consistent. And Mike Rizzo stayed with him, and here they are, up 2-1 in the World Series 2019. It's a great story. That's inside. Corbin has gotten that pitch at times. It's ball 3.
Yeah, this one's just a little bit inside as Corbin was hoping it would be strike 3.
Now at 3-2.
You know, you mentioned that, and Mike Rizzo and just the confidence he has in a what have you done for me lately world of baseball, and the moves they didn't make. I don't know if there were any out there depending on how the team was going because they were 12 games under. And Dave Martinez said, listen, I think when we get healthy, we're going to start rolling. We just need to get healthy and get our pieces together.
Another foul ball.
And that's easier said than done when there's expectation of your team that is underperforming and your starting staff is one of the best in the National League. But the bullpen couldn't get anybody out. The offense didn't have their regulars in the lineup due to injuries. And man, they put it together from the second half on.
3-2. On a line to Kendrick, 1 out. That'll bring in Robinson Chirinos. StatCast AI is powered by AWS. And he blasted one deep into the seats and left. His last time up.
You know, most of the home runs are going to come in that variety, meaning a bad pitch in the middle of the plate. And the majority of the home runs, when you break it down, are of that variety. When you don't make your pitch and you leave it over the middle, guys are too good. Ball. And they're built to swing to hit the ball in the air. And so that's why you see the league high in strikeouts, high in home runs, and high in walks.
That's up and away, 2-0 the count. A year that saw 6,776 home runs fly out of ballparks across baseball. A record by 671 home runs.
Yeah, a lot of contributing factors, and some of those that I mentioned were part of it.
There's a strike, 2-1.
But if you're geared to do that and less worried about the strikeout, that's where the home runs and why they're so important in our game. They put the run on the board obviously a lot quicker.
That's well hit into left center field. Robles on the move. He's there for the out, covering a ton of ground. 2 down.
Marino's seeing the ball really good lately, and so is Robles. He's seeing the ball and reacting accordingly. There's some fine defense in these 2 games here in his home ballpark.
It'll bring in Marisnik. With the pinch hitter on deck, Aledmus Diaz, in case the inning gets there.
But the point I want to finish is with all the home runs we've seen, and obviously it's going to go down in the postseason percentage-wise because you're going to face a lot more power pitching. But in the series between each series that Houston was able to move on and win, they put the ball in play a little bit more than the previous team, especially for the Yankees. And in this series, when the Nationals went up 2 games, they put the ball in play and put pressure on the Astros. Now it's the reverse.
Strike 2 on Marisnik, who singled and stole the bases last time. James is still up for Houston in their bullpen. He may take over in the bottom of this inning. Here's a 1-2. Despite the fact that Urquidy has retired 9 in a row, and you caught Chirinos giving a signal to A.J. Hinch to maybe get reinforcements ready.
Yeah, I think so. He's extended himself as Chirinos, has Urquidy, and what a job. I mean, those 2 and the game planning going on.
Good swing by Marisnik.
I started charting his pitches and just like trying to keep track of the rhythm, and he just mixed it up. He did not give the Washington Nationals too many first pitch fastballs to hit. And when he was behind in the count, he was able to get back in the count with his secondary pitches, and then slowing the National hitters down. That little fastball he was throwing was getting on him quick. They're just missing it, hitting some fly balls. Great job.
A foul tip hung on to by Gomes, and that ends the inning. And Corbin is through 6. It's good news for Washington. The bad news, they're down 4-0. It looks like Houston is going to their pen with James. Corbin got through 6 innings. Started the season with San Francisco, cut loose. We talked about last night, and we talked about in Houston during Game 2. Changed his walk-up song to change his luck in honor of his 2-year-old daughter as Josh James takes over. And during the NLCS, Dave Martinez told us, the manager of the Nationals, he sent Parra up as much to change the mood in the stadium as he did to get a hit.
It is quite a scene.
1-0 pitch from James, up and away, 2-0. 4-0 game. And Urquidy was great. 5 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks. And now the organist gets into it.
The Nationals are getting into it because they're like anybody but that guy that was on the mound for 5 innings. Even though James has got an electric fastball, they're glad he's out.
Ball 3. And all Urquidy can do now is watch with all of us. 67 pitches. His spot did not come up in the order, but A.J. Hinch figured 5 innings, as much as he had. 3-0 pitch. 3-1. Baby Shark has to come back. He thought it was down. It was called strike 1. Let's see.
Good pitch.
Parra trying to get it started. That's ball 4. And a good start to the inning for the Nationals. It'll bring in Trey Turner.
Leadoff walks. Statistically, they're not good. They're not good mentally for your managers when you bring in your guy and first battery face. Gives him a free pass.
That's a strike. James came into the ballgame last night in the 5th in relief of Zach Greinke with 2 on, 2 out in a 2-1 ballgame and got a strikeout. Here's the 0-1. 0-2 on Turner, who's 0 for 2.
You know, he has a great arm, and you can see why he can live in the zone right there. The ball just jumps on the hitter. As Harris, who did an incredible job yesterday, will only be asked to get out of a jam and not pitch any kind of length because they used him in a tough situation yesterday.
He got 5 outs in Game 3. Ball. That jam could come here in the 6th after that leadoff walk to Parra. He changed the mood in this stadium in a 4-0 ball game. He got everybody back up on their feet and then got a walk. Struck him out looking. 1 on, 1 out. And the batter will be Adam Eaton.
Got away with a hanging slider. See how it popped out of his hand, and first move by Turner was, oh, that's a ball. And it's too late.
As Brent Strom comes out to talk, we'll give you a quick word from Bounty.
Quick! The quicker picker-upper. Bounty.
You know, John, as they talk on the mound and Harris gets loose, Runner at first, Parra. You know what was in St. Louis today?
I do not.
The Baby Shark stage show, which I have found is basically an impossible ticket. I had to beg, borrow, and steal every connection I had back home. Michelle took the boys and said it was great.
Wow. So they got...
There they are. There's Wyatt on the left, Blake on the right, Michelle in the middle. And that's become their rallying cry here in D.C. We got it started with a walk, and now with Eaton up, 1 out. A ball outside. And yes, that was extremely self-serving.
Well, I think that conversation had to possibly be something mechanically getting underneath the slider. Some reminders.
There's a strike.
You know, pitching coaches have to be today, they have to have unwritten degrees in psychology.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to figure out so much about your personnel that you have and look for cues and look for things that work and make sure that you go tell them as soon as you see something go awry.
And that's the part, and we talked about this with A.J. Hinch with regard to Urquidy, that's the part that you can't account for with analytics. You know, what's a guy's mindset that day?
Yeah.
You know, does he like facing a certain hitter? Sometimes the numbers say, well, this guy dominates this guy, and he may go to the manager and say, man, when so-and-so steps in, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling, despite what the numbers may say.
Yeah, having that blend is great, and the Houston seems to have a real good blend, as do a lot of teams, but they really do it well and match up strengths with the guys who are pretty good on the mound.
2-2 the count with Rendon to follow. Harris ready to go if he's needed. A walk, a strikeout, and now the 2-2 to Eaton. Ball, full count.
See, when the front shoulder of James gets a little loose, then the long arm that he has doesn't catch up. When his timing is good and the front shoulder's quiet, the ball explodes out of his hand. He's got a really above average changeup when he's locked in mechanically, and then the slider, if he doesn't get underneath, is a weapon for him. He's got a bright future, but a big body, long arm mechanics will be his issue.
Big pitch here, and it's a walk. 2 in the inning, and life for the Nationals in the 6th. And here comes A.J. Hinch.
Yeah, he has to. He's got his arm side is late.
Harris is coming in. Tight spot. 6th inning. Game 4. Astros up 4. The 2019. Aroldis Chapman of the Yankees is the American League recipient. Josh Hader of the Brewers for the National League. Chapman 37 saves, 2.21 ERA. Hader just tremendous since he's taken over that role. 138 strikeouts, the most by a reliever in baseball, and a 2.62 ERA. Second straight year Hader has won the award. Glad to see them here at the park tonight. Will Harris takes over. Rendon at the plate. 2 on, 1 out. 6th inning. Right up the middle, off Harris. Bases loaded. And Harris limping just a bit after being hit by that batted ball.
Yeah, that was hit pretty firmly. Another first pitch, attack mode. And if it doesn't hit Harris, Altuve's got it, but there's no way for Harris to get out of the way. He finishes in a position and catches him on the side of his leg. That time, the first pitch attack got rewarded. This Nationals team has come back in games. They're never out of games. They're hoping they can put together a monster rally here. The crowd is absolutely begging for Soto to do something.
He hit 34 home runs during the regular season, 3 this postseason, 1 in this World Series. Tying run with 1 out. Slow roller. Gurriel goes to the bag. A run scores. It's 4-1. An RBI ground out. Harris and the Astros will take it. And now a tough out coming up for the Nationals and Howie Kendrick, second and third, 2 out.
Yeah, they're glad they scored a run, but another first pitch curveball to the young man. Didn't hit it hard enough to turn 2. And this October, they have really flipped the script on him by throwing him a lot of breaking balls. And here's the one right here, top to bottom. And he just hits the top of the baseball, grounds it out to first.
They serenade Kendrick here as Harris tries to keep this a 3-run game.
Tough matchup here from a curveball standpoint because Kendrick on the year has been really good against right-handed curveballs.
Two big runs sitting out there for the Nationals with 2 out.
Ball on strike.
Harris is not the typical light up a radar gun right-hander coming out of the pen like you see all over the big leagues these days. He's 89, 90, 91.
But he creates spin, nothing straight. That's a cutting fastball. So at 89, it's going to look like 94 by the time he gets to the plate because of its spin.
There you go. Check swing, no swing, 2-1.
And what Harris has become really good at is throwing that front door cutter. And that's the one right there at the top of the zone. It's just so difficult for a right-handed hitter. There's a good look right there. Ties him up.
Here's the 2-1 to Kendrick. 2-2.
Just can't throw a pitch any better than Kendrick's strengths out over the plate. Loves hitting fastballs, loves hitting the ball down, and he ties him up twice now. First a check swing, and then there a full swing. Staying away from the curveball so far in this at bat.
2-2 pitch. Struck him out. Harris does his job again. The Nationals get a run, but strand a pair and have now left 4. We've played 6. Astros trying to even this World Series up 4-1 back after this from your local Fox station. It has been one of the most valuable pieces of the bullpen for either side. All teams use iPad across MLB, analyzing scouting reports, stats aiding their in-game decisions. And checking out the iPad was Kyle Tucker, who comes in to pinch hit here and end the night for Will Harris. And that's what A.J. Hinch told us he would do. Harris, after getting 5 outs last night, and we're going to extend him, put him into a ball game to finish an inning, and he did. Tucker bats for him, and against the new pitcher Tanner Rainey.
Here's another guy along with James. Tremendous power fastball, good breaking ball, unhittable slider, but it's the command that is a flip of the coin sometimes. He's been better of late, but he can lose the strike zone and get him in trouble.
Here's his 2-0 pitch. Outside at 99, 3-0.
Again, that's part of what the philosophy of the game is to throw the ball with max velocity and effort, and with a more free swinging batter's approach. You'd think those things would cancel each other out. But guess what you're facing in this time of the year? You're facing the stingiest team in baseball in Houston.
Joe Smith worked a good inning last night, getting ready again. Tucker waits for a 3-1 pitch. Ball 4. And a leadoff walk. We'll bring in George Springer. Springer back in game 1 in Houston. Took Rainey out of the park. His 6th World Series home run. And at that time, home runs in 5 straight World Series games. He was the MVP of the series back in 2017 when the Astros beat the Dodgers in 7 games. Tonight he's 0 for 3 and now facing Rainey after Corbin went 6, allowed 4 runs on 7 hits.
In a perfect world, Rainey should be good throwing the fastball to the glove side, meaning away to the right-handed hitters. If he can own that part of the plate, they'll never get a hit off him because of the slider. So right there is where he's got to command the fastball. And see, that was center cut. And because you are not sacrificing velocity, you're going to sacrifice location. And so you hope the velocity wins out more times than not. But the reason that would be an unhittable situation is because if you can't cover 100 and then 90 breaking away, you just can't.
Springer loves velocity. He can handle the fastball. That's down and away. Gomes gave a look at Tucker, who stole a base last night as the Astros stole 4 bases to tie a single game World Series record in game 3. This guy Springer had 2 of them. There he is, and what he's done off fastballs just in this series alone.
I mean, this should be a slider, but when you are a little off with your fastball command, that means your release point's a little off. The slider might be a little off.
Here comes a 2-1 pitch. Ball. 3 balls and a strike. This is why last night, when all those questions were asked during the game, then certainly after, about Dave Martinez allowing Anibal Sanchez to hit with a tying run at 3rd and 1 out in the 4th inning. He doesn't have a lot of options that he really trusts down there. Rainey's got great stuff, but trying to find the strike zone after a leadoff walk. He's behind 3-1. That's foul. Full count.
It's easy. 99-100. It's not an effort. It's not grunting. He obviously has a frame and an arm that allows the ball to have high velocity.
Rodney pitched last night. Fernando up again. He also worked in game 2. I think Zimmerman's like, whoa there, young man. He just threw about 130 over the first. We count 3-2. See if the Astros start the runner.
Well, he hasn't shown a slider yet. So if you're thinking along those lines and you trust Springer with a fastball, he could be aggressive with the runner right here.
Tucker is running on ball 4. And it's back-to-back walks to start this inning, and that pitch Missed a bit up and in. And the batter will be Altuve, another guy who likes fastballs. That pitch, and remember, Gomes was popping up with the runner going. I don't know if that bothered the home plate umpire, James Hoy, but that pitch looked pretty good.
Yeah, you mentioned it. He caught it up. Might have presented it up as he was standing up. I know a lot of umpires say that won't matter.
Back-to-back walks and a visit. We'll be back here tomorrow night for Game 5 of the World Series. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on Fox. And don't forget, you can download the Fox Sports Super 6 app for a chance to play along at home and win cash prizes. A long meeting, and you wonder if Paul Menhart, the pitching coach, now he and the home plate umpire talk on their way off the mound about not getting that pitch. Back to where we started, pitching matchup wise in Game 1. Max Scherzer, Garrett Cole. Great stuff will be on display here tomorrow.
It sure will.
Here's Altuve.
Better get the ball down to him, because if you throw a high fastball, he usually doesn't miss it. It could be 110.
Ball one. Altuve singled and scored in the first. Then he was robbed of an extra base hit on a diving stop by Rendon at third in the third. And with a runner at third, 2 out, he tried to bunt for a hit and an RBI, and Patrick Corbin made a nice play off the mound to get the out. 1 for 3.
That was the first slider we saw, and I said, because you're missing with your fastball, it does affect your slider. It's a max effort slider that drops out of the zone. You've got to have the release point up just a little bit.
Popped up shallow right. Eaton coming to get it. Runner stay put, 1 out. The big out picked up by Rainey as he gets Altuve. And now we'll deal with Michael Brantley, who's 2 for 3, and without a diving catch by Robles in left center his last time up, could have a 3-hit night. That's going to be it for Rainey. Dave Martinez will go get the young right-hander and call on Fernando Rodney with 2 on and 1 out here in the 7th. Earlier today, hundreds of kids from military families stationed at Fort Belvoir participated in a play ball event at the Bill Bering Little League fields in Virginia. Find ways to play ball near you at playball.org. Fernando Rodney takes over with 2 on, 1 out. And Michael Brantley coming up. Rodney now working in his 3rd straight World Series game.
Rodney basically has no strides, kind of just goes downhill to the plate. Fastball changeup. He too has fastball command issues. When he doesn't do well, it's usually a result of that.
Look at the numbers for Brantley against Rodney. 6 for 13 with a double, a walk. That includes this postseason, all postseason baseball, and 2 vets go at it here with good speed on. Tucker and Springer 1 out. Kenny?
Interesting move here, Joe. Last night, the Nationals intentionally walk Brantley with Rodney on the mound because they don't want Rodney to face him. Tonight, they bring in Rodney to face Brantley. Where's Daniel Hudson?
Hudson still out there in the bullpen as Rodney brings it home. A foul straight back. I think this is more a function of not trusting the young Tanner Rainey to throw strikes and hoping that Rodney can make pitches against a guy that has hit him very well.
Yeah, they're going to need Rodney in a situation where the leverage of the score is, they're going to need Hudson in the leverage of the score being the opposite, not trailing.
Here's one into center. It's a base hit, but that'll just load the bases. That's the 3rd hit of the night for Michael Brantley, who is absolutely locked in. And this bullpen, which was the worst in the National League statistically during the regular season, is in some trouble here in the 7th.
Well, you just can't provide walks, even to a team that led baseball in walks or was so good. 2 walks in an inning is a bad recipe at any point in the season.
They'll bring in Bregman. Last night, as Rodney deals, that's a strike. The walk that Kenny was talking about was intentional to Brantley, and then Bregman ended up bouncing into a force out, and they get to go at it again here tonight. And that's where the inning ended with the bases loaded. Here's the 0-1. High fly ball to left. This is gone for a grand slam for Bregman. And the Astros cleanup man just cleaned up and blows open game number 4 here in the 7th against the Nationals bullpen. It's 8-1 as they try to even this World Series 2-2.
He does not miss down and in or on the inner part of the plate. At least that is the scouting report, and that's the pitch he got.
Now Gurriel fouls it back. So last night Rodney got Bregman. Tonight Bregman gets Rodney in a big way. With a light drizzle falling here at Nationals Park, that's inside. A ball and a strike on Gurriel. That's Bregman's look. after doing something big, holding out the 4 fingers. Last night it was the intentional walk that brought him to the plate, and he didn't come through. Tonight a hit by Brantley. And then Bregman deposits one deep down the left field line and out.
After the inside changeup taken for a strike, a 2-seamer in, and he absolutely knew it. The only question there for a while was, would it hook foul? Once he knew it wouldn't, he dropped the bat. That'll send a few folks
out of the rain.
Out of the rain.
3-2 the count now on Gurriel.
Ball 4.
Another walk. That's the 3rd of the inning. 2 by Rainey, 1 now by Rodney. The home run. In unison, the 2 right-handers the Astros hope will be their next 2 starters in this World Series, and the guy who was fantastic tonight, Urquidy, all celebrate with Alex Bregman.
I mean, honestly, sitting there looking at that shot, Cole knew he was pitching. That grand slam, you got to believe Verlander felt like he's pitching now.
It's a 7-run ball game here in the 7th. Correa has walked twice and lined out. And just to go back to what Kenny said, kind of a unique situation for the Nationals in their bullpen. They picked up Hudson. He's been fantastic for the Nationals since they got him from Toronto. They also have a left-handed closer in Doolittle. So they have 2 options late in their bullpen. And I think what Kenny was going for, and will bring him back in, is you're saying, hey, if you have any shot of staying in this ball game, Kenny, go to Hudson and take your chances and worry about the 8th and the 9th later.
Right, that's exactly the point. That situation in this game was high leverage, and it goes back to last night with the Sanchez decision and going for the jugular and the way you manage in the postseason. We can debate these things all night long, but it was just a much different strategy than they took last night with Rodney than they did tonight.
Grand slam by Bregman is the 2nd World Series grand slam by a 3rd baseman. The other one, the captain, Kenny Boyer, for the Cardinals in Game 4 of 64 against the Yankees in Alabama. Full count now on Correa. Hunter will start. Doesn't matter. It's ball 4. Gurriel took off at 3 steps before Rodney brought it to the plate. And that is walk number 4 of this inning. And the batter will be Chirinos. As the right-hander Suero gets up again. He was up earlier. But after Corbin, the call went to Tanner Rainey here in the 7th, not Suero. Rainey went a 3rd, walked 2. Both those guys came around to score, and now Rodney has had a rough go. Here's Chirinos with 2 on, still only 1 out. Not close.
Well, until this World Series, Rainey had been one of their best pitchers. And he's a guy that, you know, has been able to shut down. He was the wild card, and he still is the wild card. He could still factor huge in the series, but Dave Martinez really doesn't have, as you mentioned, a ton of options, and he wants the game as short as possible. And so for tomorrow, he wants Scherzer to go 7, and then he's got 2 clean guys to finish the game off in any capacity with Doolittle and Hudson, and he's going to need that formula to win 2 more games to win a World Series.
Well, they tried really from the beginning to remake this bullpen with the Nationals. Different pieces in and out. And in the end, ERA-wise, it was a bad year. Here's a stop by Rendon. He steps on the bag for the force out. 2 out in the inning. And the 9th man to bat here in the 7th will be Marisnick. Covering the bases is sponsored by State Farm. And the battery tonight, Urquidy and Chirinos. Urquidy, 2 hits, no runs, second rookie all time to do that in a World Series start. He did just go 5, and then Chirinos with home runs now in back-to-back games. And the Astros have home runs in 3 straight games from their catchers. Maldonado, and then the last 2 from Chirinos. Strike 1 on Marisnick.
That man right there is for me, the player of the game for the Houston Astros. We went into this game not really sure how long he would go, how many pitchers they would use. Ball. He set the stage up perfectly for AJ. One stress situation that Harris came in and did a great job, and now the game has been broken open by that grand slam.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Marisnick. 2-1. Rodney was signed as a free agent the first week of June. He had been released by Oakland at the end of May. And remember, Oakland ended up having a really strong year. And we're a wild card team. Here comes a 2-1. Ball. 3 balls and a strike with Tucker, who started this frame as a pinch hitter, for Will Harris on deck. Ball 4. Another walk. 5 in the inning. And a third by Rodney. Back to the Bregman swing.
Look how good he is. Head down. Look at the extension. Lower body just absolutely powers through. Another guy who hits with his legs, just like Altuve, where they get their power, even though they're not tall in stature. Strong.
That's it for Rodney. 1/3 of an inning. Couple of hits, 3 walks, couple of runs, and he leaves with the bases loaded as Wander Suero wanders in an 8-1 game. As Suero faces Tucker, who bats for the 2nd time here in the 7th. And this one rides up and away. We've seen 5 walks in the inning. And here are the numbers from the regular season down below. This is his 3rd effort in the postseason.
And unfortunately, he can walk some guys as well with his mechanics.
1-0 pitch. Chased it. Tucker did. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm sure AJ won't be happy with that swing on a 1-0, bases loaded. Loves the fastball, so he sees it, wants to hunt it. That one was above the zone.
Ball. Just in case you're wondering, I'm told there have never been 2 grand slams in the same inning in a World Series game.
That would be the biggest nugget you've given all postseason.
If it happens, wow. Suero's just trying to keep this what is now a 7-run ball game. He was trying for history in the count 2-2.
Tucker with the rare no batting glove. You don't see it very often. There's a few guys that do that. They like to feel.
Hit 34 homers at AAA this year, and he strikes out here. Suero avoids further damage. They chant MVP for Alex Bregman in Houston. Comes up big, a grand slam. 8-1 Astros trying to even this World Series. 8-1 is the score, bottom of the 7th inning. 2 in the first, 2 in the fourth, 4 in this 7th inning, and Hector Rondon takes over and fires a strike at 98. The well-rested right-hander, who's been in just 3 games this postseason and pitching for the 2nd time in this World Series, fired a strike to Zimmerman. That's well hit into right. Back on the run. It's Springer for out number 1. A loud out. And now we'll welcome you inside our broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck. That's a Hall of Famer, John Smoltz. And the Astros have gotten exactly what they wanted. And I think by far more than they could have ever hoped for or expected out of Jose Urquidy in the start tonight.
Absolutely. Everything that went wrong in 2 games in Houston's gone right here on the road. And great teams usually rise to the occasion when they pay attention to detail. They have locked in at the plate. They've locked in on the mound. And they've had some key relievers come in and get them out of trouble. And so when you have an elite team like these two have got here with special ways, Houston, you knew, was going to make some adjustments and give their big 2 studs an opportunity to turn this series around. And it's, regardless of what happens tonight, miracle comeback of Washington or not, tomorrow's outing.
Here's one into center. Off the bat of Robles, he's 1 for 3 and on with 1 out here in the 7th. Rondon is the former closer with the Cubs, had 30 saves in 2015. 92 big league saves coming into the season, and he's a piece of the puzzle out there for A.J. Hinch.
Yeah, and they didn't have to go to some of the guys based on the score that he probably before the game thought he would have to go to. And look, when you got Garrett Cole going tomorrow and Scherzer going tomorrow, you can make certain decisions that you know historically they're going to eat up those innings that you won't have to cover.
Here's Yan Gomes. Well, I mean, case in point, Joe Smith worked last night. Really looked good in a scoreless inning. He was up and going to come into this ball game. If it was still 4-1, it's now 8-1 until Rondon comes in and Smith stays in the pen. 1 ball, no strikes on Gomes, who's 1 for 2. 5 out of 16 swinging the bat this postseason. Nationals got a lot of production out of their catching tandem with Gomes and Suzuki. 1-1. The word on Kurt Suzuki, who came out of the ball game last night, is he is a strained hip flexor, but is able to continue in this World Series. If he couldn't, he would be quote unquote unavailable tonight. They'd have to make a move. He can't go into the game with only 1 catcher. We asked Dave Martinez who his emergency catcher would be, and he said, probably Brian Dozier. But he doesn't want it to fall to him. So good news that Suzuki is good enough to stay active. Two-one pitch. 2-2. Asdrubal Cabrera on deck. Barring a double play, he will hit for Suero. Fouled back. 2 loud home stadiums in this World Series, and this for an outdoor venue about as loud as it gets in Major League Baseball, and they've been packed in here. First time the World Series has been back in D.C. since 1933. 86 years ago, and they just haven't had a ton to go crazy about. 2-2 pitch. Popped up. Foul ball, back and out of play.
It's just hard maybe at home on your TV to understand how loud they are in the beginning of the game and how fired up they are to hope that this year, which has been special, probably surprised about 75% of these fans to think that they could get to the World Series. And they were in prime position against a great team to win 2 games on the road. And now they have to deal with the mental gymnastics that go on with storylines that change and questions that get asked.
Well, they're still, if they don't win this game, the series will be 2-2. And they will still be a game better than the Houston Astros, who set a franchise record with an incredible regular season, 107 wins. With the most wins in baseball since the Nationals started the year, 19-31. They turned it around. Here's one into left center field on the move. Bradley, 2 loud outs here in the 7th, and back to first is Robles. Zimmerman lined out to right. Gomes lines out to left. And Brent Strom is going to come talk to Rondon with Cabrera coming up. See some of the folks that are with us tonight. You saw Jenny Finch, Joe Torre, Jimmy Leland, and a great round of applause before tonight's game for Frank Howard, 83 years old. There's Brett Baer from Fox News checking out the ball game, and there's Frank's name in their ring of honor, all 6'7". Frank Howard, a big presence for the expansion Senators of the 1960s.
You know, they play this kind of statement every time a series goes on, but if you'd ask most folks, would you take 2 games to 2 games in Washington, Scherzer, Cole, if you're a Nats fan? And I think most would say, oh yeah, I'll sign up for that. But it's the way it could potentially get to 2 games to 2 games.
Yeah.
That seems like you're more defeated than you are you would take it.
By the way, Frank Howard slugged 237 of his 382 career home runs here in D.C. That's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Cabrera. If the Astros win this game, it would be the first time since 1996 that the road team.
Here we go. Let's get it out.
In the first 4 games of a World Series.
Yes,
That's strike 2. The road team actually won the first 5 games of that World Series, and then the Yankees went home, won Game 6, and John Smoltz was denied his 2nd ring.
Yep.
Where do you keep your rings?
They're all locked up. You got a lot of 2nd place rings locked up.
And 1 big one.
And 1 big one. Thank you.
That's high from Rondon, 2-2. You denied Cleveland twice, once on the field and once in the broadcast booth. I never thought about that.
That just came to you?
In the World Series, yeah. I mean, you were blamed. I was blamed. 2-2 pitch is fouled out of play left side.
It's amazing how much power announcers have, right?
Clearly. Little did you know when you got into this business how you would take on the fortunes of teams and fans who were yearning for their hometown announcers to describe their teams when it matters the most. I get it. I understand it. 1 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cabrera fouls it off the mask of Chirinos. That's the second time we've seen him stunned this postseason with a foul tip.
You know, the technology of the mask has changed so much when you think about. You see how that one operates right there. But the direct hits, those are not fun.
I just haven't seen a real definitive study, maybe it exists, on the old school type mask that's more square or that hockey style goalie mask that is a little more, let's say, aerodynamic.
Yeah.
And this one, remember, this is a catcher who missed an entire year because of concussion. This one has springs in it. It's a full count. They play behind the runner at first. That's what Chirinos was reminding Hector Rondon about. Here is his 3-2 pitch. That'll put 2 on. With 2 out.
Rondon maybe a little bit rusty, but he's doing the same thing, getting underneath the ball, and that's going to be it for him. When you get underneath the ball, you're flat, and he's already had a couple squared up on him in this inning.
2 outs, 2 on. And Brad Peacock will enter from the bullpen for Houston, trying to shut down this 7th of Game 4. MLB At-Bat app, it's the one place to get all your Astros and Nationals action, including in-game highlights, pitch tracking, StatCast, live radio feeds, and much more. Download MLB At-Bat today. Here's Brad Peacock. He worked last night. Couldn't get through a full inning. He gave way to Will Harris, who was so good last night and again tonight. 2 on, 2 out, 8-1, bottom of the 7th inning. The batter is Turner, ball 1 down and away.
And if you're AJ, you just don't want Washington to get any kind of rhythm and get anything going, even if they're not able to come all the way back. Keep them at bay and not let them feel like they're about to unlock as an offense.
Breaking ball fouled, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tell you what, I got to give it to this crowd. This has been unbelievable to have this many people just hanging in here, hoping. They've seen their team come back. Crazy comebacks. They're hoping for one more. 2-out magic.
Ball. That's down for ball 2. Nationals are now 1 for 16 since the World Series has shifted to D.C. with runners in scoring position. That's down. 3 balls and a strike. 2 times on the injured list this year for Brad Peacock. Had right shoulder issues since he's come back. A.J. Hinch has said that he's come a little bit more 3/4 and over the top. Turner has 1 home run this postseason. Full count. So the runners will go. Robles from second, and Asdrubal Cabrera from first. The crowd pleading for something to see here in the 7th. That's foul. First error of the night. That corner has been tough on Soto, Brantley. that young lady. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Runners go again. That's what diving stop by Gurriel. He got him to end the inning. What a play. Alex Bregman will tell you he is the most underrated defensive first baseman in the league, if not the game. And Bregman gives him a high five. What a play that was, and who knows what that saved. As he beats Turner to the bag. Just got there ahead of Trey Turner. And it's 8-1 through 7 in game 4. Game here in the 8th. 8-1, the Astros on top here in game 4. Top of the order for Houston. That means Springer, and that's a strike. Springer not in on the hitting fund so far. Another reliever that was with the Blue Jays this year that ends the year with the Nationals. Washington got Guerra off waivers from Toronto in May. As again, they tried to reinvent this bullpen pretty much all year. He follows Corbin, Rainey, Rodney, Suero to the mound. Ball 1.
Been some great defensive plays tonight. Both sides.
Good fastball at 95, and the strikeout starts the 8th. Springer 0 for 4 tonight. 4D replay is sponsored by T-Mobile, and a 4D look at the 4-run home run, also known as a grand slam by Bregman, and that diving stop and a dive to the bag by Yuli Gurriel to end the 7th.
How many Ds do we get to eventually? We're at 4D.
I don't know. That's a great question.
We're past 3D.
We have an 8K camera. Ball. How many Ds? How many Ks? Our grandkids will be adding more long after we're gone. That's an 8K camera. It's Mike Gentile running that camera. Ball. 8K. And there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ks by this Nationals pitching tonight.
And I'm guessing it costs more than 8K, that camera.
I guarantee you. Altuve skies one foul. How far away is the 8K camera from home plate? Up in the Euchre seats. Up there. Have you ever wondered what an 8K camera looks like?
I actually am very curious.
One out here in the 8th. Here comes a 2-1 pitch from Guerra. Altuve with a 1-out single into left center field. Another 2-hit game for Altuve. He had 2 last night. They were doubles. After a 50 minute 7th inning, we're in the 8th, and the batter is Brantley, who's looking for his 4th hit of the night. Could have 4 if not for a brilliant play by Victor Robles in center back in the 5th.
And every one of his swings were the exact same. That's what makes him so special. And why you're not going to see him fall down too much when he swings or look really silly.
Ball. So quiet at the plate as he watches ball one miss down and away. They don't hold against Altuve at first. Play off the bag, and there's one into left center field. Robles goes to get it. Brantley's hit the ball hard 5 times tonight, has 3 hits. And Robles has been on the receiving end of a couple of batted balls for 2 outs from Michael Brantley.
I know every hitter wants to be rewarded, but that's really all you can do is square up a baseball. And eventually, you know, those things are going to work out in your advantage. Smirk as he gets back.
Here's Bregman, now has 5 RBIs tonight, the most ever by a third baseman in a World Series game. RBI single in the first and a grand slam last inning. Ball 1. And a good job by Gomes to keep it at the plate and keep Altuve at first. Whoa. Gomes just took the camera operator with that souvenir. One ball, no strikes. Bregman into left, and that's a base hit. Trapped by Soto. And it's 2 on, 2 out.
Great try by Soto. And this ball had severe topspin. It gets by him, and Altuve scores. And who knows where Bregman ends up.
That'll bring in Gurriel. This series, the first 3 games compared to tonight. Definitely frustrated. Gurriel fouls it away and may be able to erase some of that frustration with that big swing last inning.
And that's how quickly it can change, right? Because in the regular season, you're going to go through slumps, you're going to go through hot streaks, but you don't really have the time in the postseason to go through a slump. Everyone wants to know what's going on. They're asking you questions. We're talking about it. It really is the ultimate timing and when to perform and when to be hot.
Into center field, Robles tracks it. And a scoreless frame put up by Javi Guerra. Bottom of the 8th inning. Eaton, Rendon, Soto coming up. Nationals down 7. 4-2 with a walk. Urquidy went 5 terrific innings. No runs, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks through 67 pitches. I have a feeling we may see him again in this series. James, Will Harris, Rondon, Peacock, who deals a strike to Eaton, the ball and a strike.
Yeah, and if for some reason you just got into the country and you're saying, okay, this series could be 2-2, certainly Verlander got the win. Nope. Cole had to get the win. Nope. All right, Greinke, he got the win. No, it's Urquidy. And that is how the Nationals, or how the Astros have been able to have this great year, because sometimes you just need the extra help from people you wouldn't necessarily have counted on in the beginning of the year, right? You need those guys checking in.
Bregman takes care of out number 1. So the way the bottom of the 8th starts with Rendon coming up, and game summary in case you're just checking out the baseball game. This was a 4-1 ball game after 6. Chirinos hit a 2-run home run in the 4th inning, and it looked a lot like this. At the time, that made it 4-0. It was 4-1 until this. Alex Bregman with a grand slam. Those two guys have gone deep tonight as Peacock has a tailing fastball drop in there for strike one to Rendon. With one down, that skips in. Our two journalistically sound reporters are down field level. What do you think, Kenny, the rest of this series now that this is going to be a 3-game set?
Well, Joe, the Astros felt in many ways the first 2 games were an aberration. They did not play like themselves. This obviously is more like it. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to say now they have the edge. But keep in mind, all it takes in the postseason is 1 game to change the entire narrative. And if Scherzer wins tomorrow, if they win behind Scherzer, then they go for the series clinch with Strasburg. It's hardly out of the realm of possibility that the Nationals can still win this series. The key question is, are the Astros now going to take off?
1 ball, 2 strikes. And by the way, the setup with a 3-game set has provided Houston hangs on to this 7-run lead with 5 outs to get. Tom Verducci will be next after a 2-2 pitch or after whatever Rendon does here. He's lined out the only time he's been retired. Nationals need to get him hot. Left side. Gathered by Altuve, and a high throw safe. On the other side of the bag, and a longer throw for Altuve, and that one drifted.
Well, because of the shift, you're asking Altuve, who's the second baseman, to have a shortstop arm right here, and he just kind of lets it fly and comes out of his hand up.
It's an error on Altuve. And the first error of the night. That'll bring in Soto. I got a text from the great Bob Uecker after I mentioned his seat up top where that camera is. And the tie-in to this game is not just because it's baseball and Uecker's just great, and anytime you can bring up his name, you take advantage of it. But he was teammates with Kenny Boyer, the other third baseman, to hit a grand slam in a World Series, which is what Bregman has done as a third baseman in this game. As that misses to Soto, 1 ball, 1 strike. 5 RBIs, the most for a third baseman in a World Series game for Bregman. Glad Ueck is with us watching this game and chilling after another fun season by the Brewers. They got into that wild card game, had that lead, and the guy at the plate, Juan Soto, is the one that cleared the bases with a single to right in the 8th inning to give the Nationals the lead, and they would hang on to advance to the division series and the win over the Dodgers. Here's a 2-1. Ball.
Great, we just lost Uecker now.
Why?
Are you talking about that game? It's fact. You almost lost me.
Talking about 96? To get over 96.
I'm over it. I am. I'm over it. Passing on the experience of how that can happen.
That was my first World Series. You can blame me. Or Tim. Here's the 3-1 pitch to Soto. Full count.
Well, they have done a nice job. Have the Astros, in whatever adjustments they've made, they've kept Soto really quiet these last 2 games. Striking him out the last 3 times of yesterday's game. He did mix in a walk.
He had a chance with the bases loaded and 1 out his last time up and grounded out for an RBI. Here he fouls one left side out of play. At that time, he represented the tying run. But Will Harris made a pitch, and Soto rolled one to Gurriel.
And we'll see if he makes an adjustment if the rest of the series he comes up with runners on, because it looks like what they're doing is throwing that curveball right away, and he's been aggressive and make some outs on that pitch.
Another foul, Tom Verducci. Let's get your thoughts as to where we sit right now and what's to come the rest of this World Series.
Well, Joe, sounds like you're telling me we've got a best-of-3 series, and the pitchers in the next 2 games are Cole, Verlander, Scherzer, Strasburg. Sign me up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would say those 4, actually, to me right now, Strasburg is throwing the ball the best. You know, that Garrett Cole on that all-time run.
Here's ball 4 up, 2 on, 1 out.
And Joe, I thought it's not that they nicked him up. I thought his stuff has been down a tick the last 2 starts. It's gone from otherworldly to maybe just simply great. Still plenty good enough, but interesting to see these great starting pitchers matched up a second time in the same series. The other thing jumps out at me, guys. Alex Bregman is back. It's interesting, after the game last night, Carlos Correa, the Astros shortstop, predicted a breakout game today by Bregman. Hitless last night, but he hit 4 balls at 93 miles and above. And that home run, the first time I've seen in a while where he had that trigger mechanism back in his swing to get himself on time.
Strike 1 on Kendrick.
The best part about a series when you get a couple starts is those great pitchers are going to make some natural adjustments to what didn't go right for them. In Scherzer's case, he really wasn't connected with his changeup and or slider, and he was battling through the game. I think you're going to see a cleaner game out of him. And I think for Cole, to Tom's point, will be able to make certain adjustments that he didn't like in his first game of the World Series.
Ball. And the Nationals have 2 on, 1 out. They forced Joe Smith to get up for the second time tonight out in that bullpen for Houston. And they have the NLCS MVP at the plate with Zimmerman on deck. Maybe they can jump back in this game. Down by 7 with 5 outs left and time called by Torino. The top average over the last 3 years combined in the big leagues belongs to this guy, Howie Kendrick. The 1-1. Strike 2. Kendrick got the start tonight as Drupal Cabrera started this game on the bench. Drew a walk in the 7th as a pinch hitter. Hitless tonight is Kendrick, and he stands up there now with a 2-2 count.
Well, see if each team makes a change in their lineup tomorrow. Looks like Houston could throw in Alvarez in the outfield if A.J. Hinch wants to go that route. More of a strikeout pitcher on the mound. Less need for defense.
2-2, struck him out, 2 down. The first strikeout for Peacock. Here comes Ryan Zimmerman, who came in with a career home postseason batting average, and he's had plenty of chances with as many times as the Nationals have made the postseason here recently at .346. Came in 6 for 17 here at home this postseason. 0 for 3, however, tonight. Ball 1. Here's a 1-0 by Peacock, down 2-0.
The other good news that 3 days ago didn't look so good. looks like the weather's not going to be an issue for tomorrow night.
Is that right? You're making that call now.
That's the early call I'm making. No golf in the morning, though. The weather is not going to be good in the morning.
Poor baby.
I wasn't playing anyways.
2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, no strikes. Zimmerman pops up. Into right for Springer. Let's go to the 9th. Of game 4, Astros will bat. Trying to even this series 2-2 as they lead by 7. Round 2 hits and Correa, Chirinos, and Marisnik. The scheduled hitters. Correa 0 for 1, 3 walks and a run scored. The time he was retired, he lined out to second. That's down the line, foul, strike 1. The Astros this year against left-handed starting pitching went 40-12. 769 winning percentage regular and postseason. That is the best in baseball since the '92 A's. They were 778. And the starter Patrick Corbin went 6, allowed 4 runs on 7 hits. Struck out 5, walked 2, allowed a home run, and he's on the hook for the loss. Unless the Nationals rally with a big comeback in the bottom of this 9th. That's a strike, nothing in 2. Oh-2 from Guerra is popped up. Right side, long run. Can Zimmerman get there? Yes, he can. 1 away. Chirinos coming up.
Want more postseason stats? Hey Siri, who's leading baseball in RBIs in the postseason?
Chirinos with that 2-run homer back in the 4th, 1 for 4 tonight. Chris Davinsky, the right-hander, getting loose for Houston in their pen. Up for ball 1.
Well, for a series where the Astros got basically nothing out of their catchers in the ALCS, that has not been the case here in the World Series.
3 straight games with a home run out of that spot. Maldonado in that blowout in game 2 had one late. Chirinos last night, a 6th inning home run and a 2-run shot tonight. 2-0 the count here. The bottom of the inning, bottom 3 in the order for Washington. 2-0 pitch.
Oh no, here we go.
High again, it's 3-0. Now they're going to have to check on Chirinos. He injured himself on that check swing.
Oh no, here we go.
Marino says he's okay to continue. 3-0 the count. Hot. 3-1.
Well, Houston knew they had to go home. They just wanted to bring a team with them. Right? I mean, you don't want to go home empty.
No.
It looks like they'll be accomplishing that task if they can get 3 more outs.
How about Chirinos? I guess he's healthy. Rockets one down into the corner, and he stopped and said, well, if you're going to give me the double, I'll just keep going, because Soto kind of came up and stopped. They locked eyes, and Chirinos ends up at second. One out. Chirinos is heating up.
I mean, he's on everything. Even the double play he hit. Since that double play, a homer and a double.
Marisnick takes the ball. Jake Singleton stole a base in the 4th, walked in the 7th. That's what chased Fernando Rodney. And then Suero came in, struck out the only hitter he faced tonight. That was Kyle Tucker. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. In this game, Altuve and Brantley became the first pair of teammates with 3 straight multi-hit games in the World Series since Jeter and O'Neill for the 2000 game.
2000.
Here's a 1-1. Base hit by Marisnick. Chirinos will be brought to the plate. The throw by Soto is in time. Out at the plate for the 2nd out of the inning.
One will never know yesterday if that kind of throw would have gotten the first run that the Astros started. The air mailed it this time much better. And after he air mailed it yesterday, Eaton went and talked to him about the mechanics of what was going on, and looks like a fast learner.
Great throw. I think all in all, Chirinos was surprised to be sent to the plate after that swing, getting checked. You hit the double. Good throw by Soto. Here's Yordan Alvarez, who bats for Brad Peacock. And at least coming in, you touched on it earlier, and I think Kenny talked about it, or Tom last night. It was the game plan of A.J. Hinch to get Alvarez a start, typically the DH, in the outfield with the series here in the National League City, and that's supposed to come tomorrow. Soto able to hang on. And the foul out sends game 7 into the game 4 into the bottom of the 9th, as Chirinos cut down at the plate on a strong throw from Juan Soto. Needed no shelter from the rain, which last week looked like these 3 games could be a washout. The weather has been ideal. I know it's been drizzling just a little bit tonight, maybe for about an inning last night. Chris Davinsky takes over here. 61 games during the regular season. Finally got activated on the roster for this World Series round. Was not there for the division series of the LCS, and he fires a strike to Robles to start the bottom of the 9th.
And can I just say, it takes something special to not be on the roster the week to 10 days before and stay mentally ready for this situation, to get the call and say you're now on the World Series roster.
1 ball, 1 strike on Robles. 1 for 3 in this game. Game 5 is tomorrow night. Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, what a pitching matchup. And really, the Astros win this. The next one, Strasburg and Verlander, could turn those into a coin flip. And any one of those four guys is capable of a shutout.
Yeah. No, I really anticipate a much different game tomorrow than we had game one.
That's high, 2-2 from Davinsky.
And what I mean by that is you give elite pitchers the opportunity to make a bullpen mechanical adjustment, a strategy adjustment based on what they saw hitters were trying to do to them, and they make those adjustments. That's why they're the top pitchers in the game.
Into left, right at Brantley, one out. Been some loud outs off the Nationals bats tonight. T-Mobile takes fans further for the future of baseball as we take a look at the best of 4D, sponsored by T-Mobile. And a good throw by Juan Soto, who says, don't forget about my arm too. As he got Chirinos at the plate in the top of this ninth. In steps Yan Gomes, who's 1 for 3. He was the last guy that Urquidy faced. And they got through 5. And Urquidy walked out of here with 5 shutout innings, allowing 2 hits. And he ended his effort tonight, retiring the last 9 hitters he faced. Here's the 0-1. Strike 2. Davinsky, a part of the mix back in 2017 when the Astros won the World Championship. As they closed it out in 7 at Dodger Stadium. 0-2 pitch. Ball.
See Chirinos checking that right there on his arm. I used to have that for flag football when I was quarterbacking. Little backyard plays, little design that we would use probably from the 10-yard in, because that's the toughest place to score in flag football.
There's a pitch for ball 2, 2-2.
But obviously he's got information on there to help his pitcher with the guys that come to the plate. Pitchers have information in their hat to figure out what signs, what signal.
Where'd you have the Statue of Liberty play on your wrist?
I had some, I'll tell you what, the fake injury play is about as good as it gets.
Ball.
They only used that once.
That's down, and the count's full, 3-2. Dozier has come into the on-deck circle.
I don't know how the starting pitchers are going to sleep tonight, but I know I can't wait to wake up for tomorrow night's game. It is going to be must-see TV.
That is out number 2, and a strikeout for Davinsky, who looks like he's throwing the ball really well. Got good life, hitting 96 miles per hour. And with 2 down and nobody on, here's Dozier.
He has funky mechanics. It's kind of like a fall away. You wouldn't teach these, but it works for him in a deception. You kind of want your body going towards the plate. He kind of falls away, but great changeup. Pretty good stuff.
Dozier takes a strike.
He's pulling hard to first base and trying to deliver a ball to home plate, but he does it well. It works.
That's a ball, 1 strike. Last World Series win for a team from D.C. October 5th, 1933. They're going to have to wait another day. And they're going to have to do it. Ball behind Max Scherzer against Garrett Cole. 2 balls and a strike on Dozier, who was part of the Dodgers World Series team a year ago. 2-2.
I don't know what the policies are here on both teams, but normally, the guy at home that's getting ready to pitch the next day goes home a little bit early to get ready.
Max Scherzer is that man. That was just Strasburg going to you. So Scherzer may be either back in the clubhouse or back home with his feet up. We'll see that look tomorrow night. And Garrett Cole on the mound for Houston. Here's a 3-2.
Ball 4.
That's high. And the ninth inning continues. And so does the noise coming from these fans who have waited a long time to get the World Series here in D.C., and they are not going home early no matter what. That's to their credit. And back to the top, and Trey Turner.
Well, I said early on, Trey Turner gets on base 19 different times. The team has scored 25 runs. He's not been on the base tonight.
That should end it. Correa on the knee, flips to Altuve. And the Astros have evened this World Series at 2 games apiece with an 8-1 win here tonight in Game 4. And that streak does end for Turner. Had been on base 25 straight games, all games this postseason. A 3-hour, 48-minute game. A couple of home runs tonight by the Astros. Chirinos and a grand